Senator Abubakar Kyari, says the 42,000 metric tons of grains approved by Mr. President for distribution to poor Nigerians are at the bagging stage and should be ready for nationwide distribution over the weekend. Now, the minister, who was a guest on a TVC News current affairs program, Politics Tonight, disclosed that with the impending release of food commodities from the strategic reserve, there's a noticeable reduction in commodity prices across board. The story is shared by our man. Please, let's go there.
Featuring on TVC News flagship program, Politics Tonight, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, acknowledged that the federal government is aware and concerned about the biting economic hardship in the country. Senator Kyari assured Nigerians that the government is working hard to curtail high cost of food through various interventions.
The issue of agro-rangers, forest rangers, and also the armed forces have been mandated to take care of the situation, and I think we have seen a lot of successes in that. Just the other day, the governor of Katsina had informed us that the people have gone back to farm. At least about 70% have been recovered in Katsina.
The minister said some of the strategies include boosting security and dry season farming.
We have launched the dry season farming in, I think 5th of December, when we did the phase 1 of the wheat. We have intervened in cultivating 120,000 hectares of wheat, in which we achieved 118,000. So that's about 97%. As soon as we're over with the dry season intervention, we intend to holistically come up with a farmer data that is reliable, that will take care of other biometrics, NIM, BVN, and also geolocations of the farm.
He said the interventions are already yielding dividends, especially large-scale cultivation of wheat, rice, maize, and cassava.
The next 2-3 weeks, bountiful harvest of wheat will be available, and we have been receiving a lot of reports from 15 states that have participated, the wheat growing states. And hopefully we're going to have a bountiful harvest for the wheat. For the second phase, we are intervening in the support for 500,000 farmers of half a hectare each, which is 250,000 hectares for rice, and 55,000 hectares, which is 110,000 farmers for maize. And cassava is 35,000 hectares. Production of 1 million tons of paddy rice in the next 3-4 months. And also about 150,000 tons of maize in the next 3-4 months. We have other farmers that are, without the intervention, are on their own cultivating the rice during this season. And we expect to get a total of about 2.5 million to 3 million tons of rice in the dry season.
The government is also planning for 3 farming cycles in many communities to ensure availability of food throughout the year.
When you look at the issue that we are doing now, the incentivizing farmers to go into dry season, we want to, at the end of the day, have 3 cycles of farming in some communities. And that is very, very achievable. So we are doing that, and going forward, we also have the mechanization policy of Mr. President, where we have 2 major policies that has been kickstarted. We signed an MOU with John Deere Tractor. They're in fact coming on the 6th of March for the second phase of negotiations on where they would supply 2,000 tractors per annum for the next 5 years, making a total of 10,000 tractors.
He said ongoing collaboration between the federal and state governments to boost food production is being enhanced.
We have so many data that have captured individuals, and some have professions as farmers. You look at the one of such data is the one at the National Population Commission. NIMSI also has data. INEC has data. We're trying to look at those ones and see where the farmers do exist. And then we go down to the grassroots. We go, like I said, identify the farmlands first, and then you attach the farmers. You find out who the farmers are on that particular land. So if you're a farmer, you don't have a land, so you are not a farmer really. You must have a land. So we identify the lands first, and then we register the farmers.
According to the minister, all is now set for the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grains to vulnerable households.
These 42,000 metric tons you're talking about, we have them in our silos, in our storages. Bagging has commenced and in advanced stages. We have engaged both from my ministry, the Office of the National Security Advisor, and also NEMA, who have an index of vulnerability population around the country. We have drawn up the committees that will be responsible for distribution to the vulnerable Nigerians. And as I'm talking to you, as soon as this weekend, we shall roll out the first set of the distribution packages. We have maize, sorghum, millet, and gari for distribution, making up a total of 42,000 metric tons, which is about 1,400 trailers. So we are going to roll out in the next couple of days, and I assure you that this will be very transparent and it will be with utmost sincerity.
Other interventions being taken by the governments to address high cost of food include establishment of special agro-processing zones and strengthening of extension services.
Yeah, Jide, this is the way to go, if you ask me.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And, the president talked about restructuring the other day. And made bold to say that restructuring will really profit northern Nigeria a lot, especially the food-growing belts of northern Nigeria. I look at the governors of the Southwest and I shake my head because they are not doing enough in the area of agriculture, and they all have agri-commissioners and all that. But you can't feed the people.
And more than that, every land is vested in the
state. So, admittedly, a state like Lagos has not got so much land.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that they want to do. Look at the big rice mill in Imota.
I hear it's one of the biggest in Africa.
Yes, that's true. But today, we can't find enough rice paddy to kick it off. That's to tell you that we are not producing enough. That reality, is there, that we are not producing enough. Lagos has farmlands in Ogun State. They need to even take it beyond Ogun State. If you can collaborate with some other states, you can have farmlands. What can the Southwest states do by way of livestock production? This minister couldn't talk about livestock production yesterday because there was no time. But you could see that steps are being taken because it was really now fast, off his head. And I'm like, when did my friend get to the agri ministry that is now very conversant with what's going on there? This is what we want to see. Apply yourself fully to the job. Let people see changes. Because people are saying, the Tinubu administration pledged to cultivate more than 500,000 hectares of farm. And he was telling me yesterday that, look, we will exceed that. That the rate we are going, we could even get to 1 million. Because the people have now seen with what has happened in the last few months that we need to grow We need to do a lot more agri-production.
Essentially because we can feed ourselves.
We have no excuse. If China, with that population, can feed itself, if India which is now the biggest country in the world by population, can feed themselves, we should be able to do that. We should be able to produce a lot more produce for export. Look at Kenya and Ethiopia. They export flowers to Europe and America.
Yeah.
In fact, the UK
on a daily basis.
From what you call agropolis, airports, located in the areas where these things are produced. So you see a country like UK buying almost $200 million worth of flowers from Kenya in 1 year.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Kenya is also one of the world's biggest producers of tea. So we need, God has blessed us with arable land. I don't know what our problem is. We should be able to produce a lot more for export and to feed our people.
Because we can.
It's a massive shame. Let me tell you, 2 states in northern Nigeria and 1 state in southern Nigeria, Bayelsa, I tell you, they can produce all of the rice that we need to feed our people.
Yeah.
Just 2 states in northern Nigeria and Bayelsa. Those 3 states can produce all of the rice that we need in this country. But we don't have enough.
Well, I agree, but I had cause to go through Benue State, Abuja, Nasarawa, Benue, Plateau. See the waste, the crops, the wastage.
I guess all of that is about to change, I guess, if we can go by what the Minister of Agriculture. For the first time in a long time, we have a Minister of Agriculture who is able to communicate unequivocally what the plans are. In fact, before this time, we didn't even know who was in charge of agriculture, whether it was CBN with his ridiculous intervention programs. With the ridiculous program. Thank God that this current CBN governor is saying, look, CBN will focus on its core mandate and not all these interventions with interventions. Now we know who to hold responsible. We know who to face. However, I think a number of things on my mind. You see, no matter what the federal government does, there should be the states should complement at that level, even local government. Because this man, this wonderful man, gentleman, I was excited when I told him.
Paul, I sometimes I wonder why we should flog ourselves. We used to produce palm oil. Today we are importing palm oil. Avoidably.
Importing processed palm oil.
Processed palm oil.
To some of our departments, to some of our malls, you see palm oil from other countries or already processed. Do you know that we also import beef? Have you not seen beef from Uganda, from South Africa? Have you not seen eggs? Eggs from South Africa
also that
we are selling here.
A country is trying to bring Gary to us.
The Chinese are already sending soups, goosey soup and all that they are producing in their country, are sending them.
In a way.
Did you not read about them producing adire the other day? The governor of Ogun. And their own adire is inferior to ours because our people will take their time. But they are already flooding our market with Chinese made.
These things are sending messages to us. They're sending messages to us.
Of course, and what we are saying is, if we want to earn more money, earn more foreign exchange, you have to produce. You don't have a choice. You have to produce. These cash crops, Awolowo relied on process of cash crops to build cocoa house. To build the industrial layout, this Ogba and
the stadium,
and the rest of them. The stadium, the first TV station Nigeria actually got TV station before some of the countries of Europe.
Yeah.
Thanks to Awolowo. I think Cameroon got a TV station for the first time around 86 or 87. It's Cameroon, a country, a subnational doing big things, from the process of agriculture.
Yeah.
Today, all that is forgotten. In Kano, those pyramids, go to Kano whether you see a single pyramid.
Yeah.
But we grew up to know the Kano pyramid.
You are reminding me of there was a country.
Yeah.
There really was.
I was actually going to say, in a way, this food crisis that we're experiencing is a blessing in disguise. It's forcing us to think. It's making us to think. There are people that are saying that the president should open up to importation, but it's not disposed. Just as a stopgap measure.
Yeah.
But importation will continue to be a wool over our head.
Our foreign exchange.
Exactly. So what I just need them to do is to communicate more.
Yes.
It's a very good thing that we bring the Minister of Agri to program like politics.
The point. Some of them run away from speaking to
you.
So why should you
use the radio? In fact,
if there's something you have, let's see.
That is my quarrel with them.
Use social media influencers. Use musicians. I don't know the kind of musicians we have.
Let the world see what you are doing.
In the 80s, in the 70s, we used to have musicians that used to teach people current affairs.
Yes.
We had musicians that criticize government with their song, but now it's just an avalanche of rubbish.
Go back to your lyrics of yesteryear and compare them with the lyrics.
I was singing austerity.
They already sang about the way we were abandoning agriculture a long time ago.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think 1980, he sang that song. And he said, Igi cocoa digi, dano loco. That means the cocoa that used to fetch us money. We have abandoned it. We now use the